Okay, how about a little avocado chicken soup? How does that sound? At the end of today's show, oh, it's so good. Abby is going to be in the kitchen cooking that up for you. And it's Kaufman 1. It's on the diet that we say actually helps starve fungus from your body. But I'm going to open up with this question. Whose responsibility is your health? Okay, just think about that as we open today's show. Then we're going to go into Dr. Michelle Schrader, who says, when you're suffering from an illness, could it be something from way past? I'm a Vietnam veteran. I've always wondered if there's old stuff in my past that is brought up when I get sick, right? Frank Jordan, Mark Campbell are going to teach you about reducing blood sugar levels with a simple supplement, all documented. That and more on this Know the Cause. This show is brought to you by the NSC Company. When you can't, Beta Glue can. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. Any of you ever have a bad experience in a doctor's office? You know, I try and minimize my visits to a doctor's office. I always have. But I used to play one. I was in clinical nutrition with several doctors, and every 15, 30 minutes, they'd send you another patient. You'd talk about, you know, the doctor wants you to take grains out of your diet or one thing or another. I always imposed my diet, the Kaufman diet, on these patients, and when the doctor saw the results of that diet, they asked me to impose that diet. But sometimes the doctor would want a patient on vitamin D, so I'd have to explain that. By the time I got in my car at 5 p.m. or 5:30 to drive home, my head was bobbing, I was cross-eyed, I was so tired. And at most, I maybe saw one of their patients, maybe 16 a day, 20 on a bad day. They see 20 or 30 and then go to the hospital and start seeing patients. Can you imagine the load they put on themselves? And I had a friend who had a skin problem. She sent me a picture of her skin. And she said, what is this? And I said, I don't know. Go see a dermatologist. She's in Los Angeles. Do you know one? No, I don't. So she went on Google and found a dermatologist. Well, a week later, she wrote me and said, that was the worst experience of my entire life. And I said, I'm so sorry. Who did you see? And we discussed it a little bit. Sometimes doctors are at the end of their rope, just like sometimes we get at the end of our rope. I think we set the bar too high on what we want from a doctor's visit. I mean, they're there to dispense information to you, not become your friend, right? And we're there to give them the facts and then use their wisdom to help us get better. That's really the bottom line. So I put a couple of graphics together. This opening one I think is interesting. Why is it that we always have time to take good care of our cars, good care of our clothing? Everything in life we have time to take good care of, except we aren't prepared for a doctor visit. I hear this so often. That doctor seems so rude. I'm never seeing that doctor again. I've never been the same since I got that shot at my doctor's office. Okay, the bottom line, your health isn't that man or woman's responsibility. Your health is your responsibility. Okay, it's funny, folks, because so many people expect to go in there and get a half an hour from a doctor. Today, if you're writing a check for $300, I think the doctor would sell you an hour a time. But what do they get? They get my Medicare card. What's that pay? $12? He doesn't want to see me for half an hour. He's in a hurry and he's an expert. He probably knows what that is on my skin, but you gotta feed the visit, right? Don't go in with huge expectations. All you want is to get better, okay? We did our homework when we were in school, and we were well prepared, so why not today? In non-life-threatening situations, many people feel forced into doing what a doctor recommends, and they don't have time to ask the right questions. Don't leave a doctor's office with buyer's remorse. My preparation in visiting a new doctor would be something like this. I'll go over these quickly with you. When making a new doctor appointment, make certain that the scheduler, you won't talk to the nurse, you won't talk to the doctor, whoever picks up that phone. And usually it's Dr. Like's office, you know. Just say to that person, I have a couple of questions I need to ask the doctor. Will he sit with me for a few minutes? This is very important. So before the examinations or blood is drawn, make sure you've taken a few notes. Make sure this on appointment day, don't be tardy or ill prepared. Either place, you'll be in a position of weakness in those places. When you're weak, you're tardy. When you're weak, gosh, I forgot, Doc, what I was going to ask you. Sit there with a notepad. Okay, hey, thank you for visiting me. Great to meet you. People have said good things about you. Here's what's going on. Let me show you. And I have these important questions, right? Be succinct. I think that's what my next graphic said. Okay, ask your questions. Keep them short, but be succinct. This tells the doctor that you're very serious about getting well, and also that you're not ready to take a handful of prescription medicines or schedule a surgery today. In a free market, either of you can fire the other if the relationship is wrong. Okay? You just need to understand that, folks. In a free market, that doctor is free to say, hey, Linda, we don't get along. We're not equally yoked, right? You need to find a new dermatologist. You, on the other hand, should be very comfortable saying, as you exit and pay for his time, that was a bad experience. I don't think I'm going to come back. That would help the doctor, and it would help you if the doctor would tell you. We just set the bar too high when we go in for an office visit. Be prepared. That shows that you're strong. Okay, that lovely face you saw, certainly not mine, sitting across from me, is Dr. Michelle Lamassa Schrader. Look, a couple of years ago, I saw her lecture. Couldn't get enough of it. Not so much Dr. Schrader up on the podium, but the audience. I love the way women always go, no wonder I've led this life. Like, you know, my husband sitting there, you just made me come along. Recall healing and icebergs. Okay, that's what Dr. Schrader wants to talk about today. Recall healing, what is it?
Recall healing is the root of why we have an illness.
Wow, the root cause, knowing
the root cause, knowing the root cause.
Okay, and of course, know the cause was my name.
Yes.
I thought bacteria was overkill. I thought a lot of problems were fungus, and they truly are. We've proven that. But you say that this holds in a lot of the reason we're sick. So it's kind of the field psychoneuroimmunology, mind-body healing. And now, icebergs. What is the iceberg?
So Dr. Claude Sabat, he said when a person came into his office and he would ask them, why do you have cancer? Why do you have this? Or why do you have that? Or even better yet, when somebody would come in and they would have a liver cancer. How you doing? Oh, I'm great, doc. Really? You have a liver cancer. You're not great. So he says, what we need to do is we need to dive in, because the 10% above the waterline is what's already in our awareness. We're already giving that issue. So we don't have an understanding that it's actually much more than that. And so the first line that we look at is our life experience. What has happened in our life that resembles this? What is the root cause of this particular type of cancer or this illness? And so we look at, so when a person comes in with a certain kind of cancer or diabetes is resistance and repugnance. I have to fight, I have to fight, I have to fight. And then things in this world disgust me. I can't take it anymore. And so we look at all those places in life where that happens. So that's the life experience. Then we dive deeper and we go to the project purpose. And project purpose is the time before we're born. It's 9 months before conception. So everything that mom and dad had experienced until that point in their life, that is in the egg, the ovum, and the semen. And then they come together. What is the conception like? You know, was the child actually trying to be conceived? What kind of experience was that?
Wow.
What is the pregnancy like? What is the delivery like? What is the first year of life like? This goes into an energy that we live out on a daily basis in our life, and we have no idea that we're doing this. And then we dive even deeper and we go to the genealogy. And we look at a person's birth order number and where they are in their family. Miscarriages and abortions do count because it changes the birth order. And then we can look at 4 generations of who else experienced this very same thing. And we find story after story. Once it's in our genogram, once we can see it, then oftentimes it can just go away. So 80% is about awareness. 20% is what we do with that awareness. So it's a process of working through.
So, Michelle, you talk to people, either on a phone or in California, where you're from, in your clinic, for about 90 minutes. And you contend that during that 90 minutes, if you ask the right questions, tears will begin flowing, questions will arise, hurt is involved as you're recalling all of this. And to the end that sometimes repair happens.
Yes.
You know, within a short period of time.
Yes.
Men, I would guess, take a little longer, but women probably repair very quickly.
Actually, not necessarily
really?
with men. It's finding the story. And so I had a guy that had a prostate cancer, and in the first story, it's, you know, there's several conflicts related. So children or offspring, feeling the business of the prostate is to cleanse the genitals. And so where does a person feel soiled? What are the secret things? And so in the very first session, we had very many things that contributed to that, and we only had 2 sessions. But the first session, he had already made the awareness. The second session was just a follow-up, and he was better. And he's been free for 10 years now.
So by acknowledging,
Yes.
just by regressing, just by acknowledging this, it's so therapeutic to so many people. Why don't our doctors do that, folks? They will if Dr. Schrader has anything to do with it. By the way, more information can be gotten on Michelle at recallhealingusa.com. recallhealingusa.com. Thank you for your time. Fascinating stuff.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, Frank Jordan joins me right now with the NSC24.com company. Frank's been my friend for 20 years. I want to, folks, what product do you take? What nutritional product do you take for diabetes? There's some good ones out there. I had no idea. I had no idea what the real scientific literature was saying. Pages and pages. Listen to this one. This is an article that came out of the scientific literature. One sentence. The ingestion of beta-glucan was sufficient in decreasing blood sugar levels of diabetic patients? What? I had no idea, Frank. And more importantly, this probably wasn't done on micronized beta-glucan. Now imagine if you get the NSC beta-glucan, medical school research for many, many years. This is their circulation. If you have diabetes, their circulation formula, you know about eye problems with diabetes. This is their eye care product. And then the little guy, I call it, and the big guy, beta-glucan, 3 milligram, 10 milligram. Frank, do talk to me about diabetes and blood sugar levels.
I will talk to you, but I want to tell everybody I'm talking from a personal level. I've had an resting A1C up to 10.3, which means you're just going to have a stroke. It's a matter of time. I am now through the phase 1 diet with exercise and determination. I am down in the 6.9 level, which means I really, for a prior diabetic, and this is over years, I have lost the weight.
10 inches off.
Done the lifestyle,
Yeah.
That's right. And you can too. That's what I want to tell people. And lifestyle, I am convinced it can be cured. You have a great book, Doug, on diabetes. Everybody should have, you and Dr. Holland. But I want to say, why the beta-glucan? You mentioned, but how does that work? Well, there's something called SGLT that has to do, and I'm just going to read a sentence or two from a study by Dr. Y.K.O. It was in Molecular Nutrition and Food Research. Beta-glucans have been shown to reduce the risk of obesity and diabetes. It downregulated the blood glucose through suppressing SGLT expression in intestinal mucosa. Well, what is that? SGLT plays a major role in glucose absorption, and of course that's the sugar part, and incretin hormone release. Well, what is Okay, that's another one. What is incretin? Well, incretin is an interesting hormone because it stimulates insulin secretion. Now, why do you care? Because that's what gives you blood sugar spikes when you have big meals. The glucan, this is a quote, meanwhile, pure B-glucan promoted glycogen synthesis and inhibited fat accumulation in the liver and depressed pro-inflammatory cytokines. It also helps nutritionally minimize insulin spikes by the suppression or minimization of incretin hormone release after a meal. Those spikes, now let me tell you the obesity part, because the obesity, if you have excess glycogen, it's in your liver. If that creates and stays there, it will create extra fat cells. Those fat cells become adipose fat tissue. And that's right around, that's belly fat.
Yep.
And that's what you don't want, and that's what most of us have that we call obesity. So it's the glucans that will do that. And one more sentence here. This is by another two researchers, Chen and Raymond, and this one is incredible. Dietary intake of beta-glucans has been shown to reduce all these risk factors. And I'm talking about vascular injury leading to heart disease, increased lipid levels, and hypertension. So we're talking about high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and your circulatory system.
Leading to gangrene sometimes.
Gangrene and amputation. It's a major thing. And then we also have diabetic retinopathy of the eye. This helps with the circulation of the blood and so forth to the eye. And diabetes is one of the leading causes of blindness. So it says the dietary intake of beta-glucans has been shown to reduce all these risk factors to the benefit of treatment of diabetes and associated complications. Doug, that is huge. If you have diabetes, pre-diabetic, 80 million do, get beta-glucan today, and NSE, MG-glucan is the one to get.
It really is, because it's micronized, it has a patent, it's got several research papers pending. Folks, if you're brand new and watching me, welcome aboard, thank you for joining me. This, Frank and Company, are going to send you free. This is 10 of the big boy. This is the NSC 100. This is the one I take once or twice a day, right? This is 10 of these free. Frank pays postage, everything, to rush it off to you. Why? Because over half of you will then say, wow, I was armed during that 10-day period. I want to continue being armed. Or you'll go back to your endocrinologist, give blood, and he'll say, what are you doing, Mary? The only thing you've changed is you've added beta-glucan. Frank and NSC Company, thank you so much for your education. I really appreciate you guys. Congratulations on all your successes.
Thank you.
You bet. You know, the same show that brought you avocado and cacao chocolate many years ago, look on our website, it's probably still there, now brings you avocado chicken soup. And of course, it's Abby in the kitchen. Let's go over there and see what she's making.
Hi, I'm Abby, and today we're gonna make something really special. It's called chicken avocado soup. It's pretty easy to make once you have all the ingredients put together. So we're gonna start with a sauce. It's an avocado-based sauce. What you wanna start with, 2 whole avocados, 1 whole clove of garlic, which is really good antifungal, 1 whole jalapeno that I've already removed the seeds and the veins from. That takes out a lot of the spiciness, so if you're worried about being too spicy, don't worry, it's a lot more calmed down. About a tablespoon of lime juice. It's fresh squeezed, it's just about 1 lime. And then some red pepper flakes. And a cup of water. And then we're gonna take that, we're gonna go put it in our blender. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we're gonna just leave that right here, and we'll come back to that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the base of the soup. We're gonna turn on our little stove here, heat that up. And you're gonna saute 1 chopped up white onion. There we go. Starting to sweat out a little bit. And you'll want to cook the onions down till they're about nice and translucent, which is about 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how hot your pot is. Also at this point, you'll want to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. I'm just using a pinch of sea salt and some fresh ground pepper. This soup is really good for when it's really cold out and you want something hot but not too heavy. It's got a lot of healthy fat in it, but it doesn't feel like it kind of weighs you down or anything like that. All right, give those a couple more minutes. While that's heating up, I've got a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast, and what you need to do to prepare it is you need to cut it into really thin strips. You can see I've got really thin, about 1/4 inch strips, and that way it's gonna cook in the broth. And the smaller the strip is, the shorter amount of time it'll take to cook. You don't wanna make them too thick, otherwise they'll just kind of hang out in the broth and it'll just take too long. Our onions look to be about done. So now we're gonna add in our chicken broth. And I've got 4 cups of chicken broth. And you're gonna wanna let that come back up to a simmer before you put the chicken in. Okay, we've got our soup simmering now. We've got the chicken broth and the onions, they're all ready to go. So now it's time to add our chopped chicken. Let's see. Now remember, you want to keep these slices pretty thin so they can cook faster and all the way through in the liquid. And put them in kind of slowly so it doesn't splash up on you. Okay, you can already see the pieces are already starting to cook. I'll turn the heat up just a little bit. Yeah, you can already see some pieces are already starting to cook through. Okay, we're gonna let that sit for a couple minutes. Let the chicken cook all the way through. Okay, it looks like our chicken is just about done. I notice when I pick it up, it tends to hold its shape a lot easier than just raw chicken where it'll just flop down. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and add our avocado puree that we made earlier. Yep. Okay. Give this a little bit of a stir, and we're just gonna bring that heat back up again, because the avocado puree will kind of tone it down a little bit. It smells really good. It smells like guacamole, actually. Okay. Now, we are ready to plate. This is a really nice, hearty soup. But again, it still feels pretty light, so you don't have to worry about feeling really heavy afterwards. And I'm gonna garnish with a little bit of cilantro, because like I said, it smells like guacamole, so let's just make it taste more like guacamole. And there you have it, a nice, beautifully green chicken avocado soup. Tastes like guacamole, kind of looks like St. Patrick's Day. Good all around. It's really good. It's not too spicy. It has a little bit of a kick at the very end, so you don't have to worry about it being too much. For more recipes like this, go to knowthecause.com. Again, this is all Kaufman 1 approved, so you're good to go if you're on that diet. And have a great day.
And there you have it. Thank you so much, Mark and Frank, for coming in today. This is the circulation formula, the I formula, and the beta-glucan big boy, 10 milligram, and smaller boy, although potent, 3 milligram. By the by, folks, this is coming to you free, like we talked about on the show. Those of you who are brand new viewers, thank you for joining us, and thank you for telling your friends. This is coming to you free. They even pay postage. Try 10 of these beta-glucan, the big boy, 10 milligram. Thank you, Dr. Schrader, for coming in and opening our eyes. Thank you, Abby, over in the kitchen. Great day, folks. God bless. Bye-bye.